Good evening. First order of business, because it looks like we're going to have more than a full house. If you have some room, maybe some of you could squeeze to the middle or something, and we'll try to get some more people in there, or we'll direct them. All right, well, we'll start. We're going to start on time. Okay, well, first of all, I've tried to meet as many of you as possible, but for those of you who may not know, my name is Rick Blangiardi, and I have the privilege of serving as the mayor of the city and county of Honolulu. And I want to thank all of you for coming out tonight. What a great showing. Thank you. So this is our 8th town hall, and every one of them has been different, and we anticipate, because we've been long waiting to come out here to Waialua for this meeting tonight. And we hope, at the end of this 2 hours, because we're going to end at 9 o'clock, we will stay around. We're going to start promptly, end promptly. And I'll talk about the ground rules in a little bit, but hopefully this will be a very well worth, for you, hopefully, and certainly for us, 2 hours. For us, as a team, it's been a journey of learning, which is how we started out and what we said we wanted to do. We're here tonight to, and I'll talk to you about this in a moment or two, to listen and engage and try to learn from you the issues that matter most to you. But I want to start this off, though, as we have in all our town halls, with a pule. And I'm looking for Maka Casson Fisher. Where's Maka? Maka's in the back. Maka, you're going to come up here? You're going to do it back there? What are you going to? Come on up, sir. Hello.
You know, driving down, I'm sure you've been able to look at the splendor of this space we call home. Space we call home. Waialua. One of our Vahine Apua, her name is Hi'iaka Pūpūkea, on her journey, oh, this is a long story cut short. On her journey, she stopped at Pūpūkea. And from Pūpūkea lookout, she looked over Waialua and saw the verdantness of Waialua, the growth of Waialua, the bounty of Waialua. Can we have all residents of Waialua say, Eo? Eo! 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 Waialua kaile onui ualono kauka olihue ke wala wahewae kuli vale ikaleo eleono ke kaie Waialua la iehae e ha kamalino lalo o Waialua eo Waialua eo. Mahalo.
Wow, thank you, Maka. Thank you. Well, that's great. Come on and welcome. Welcome. I'm going to do a couple of quick introductions. Council member Matt Wire, who represents this area, unfortunately is out sick tonight, but his #1 guy, Ryan Kobayashi, where's Ryan? Ryan's here, back there in the group. Thank you, Ryan, for being here. And is State Senator, is Brenton Awa here? Is Brenton here? I think he may be showing up. Somebody said he would be in. State Rep Sean Quinlan. Is Sean in the room? I tried to stay outside to make sure I met everybody coming in. I didn't think so. And for that matter, is Amy here? Amy's supposed to be here. Amy Peruso. If not, they'll probably make their way in here. Well, the next introductions I want to make is I'm going to have each of our team introduce themselves. And let me just tell you, we're extraordinarily proud to be out here at each and every one of our cabinet meetings, the men and women that you see up here tonight. And there's a couple that aren't here tonight, that their deputies have come. But you managed to get the chief of police out here tonight, which is special. But we've all come together to pay respect to you, to this community, okay? But I will tell you, I could not be prouder of a group of men and women than I am of the people behind me, in front of me, and some of the ones that are not here tonight. We've been at this now, this past week, a couple of days ago, the 2nd, made 28 months since we've been in office. And the first 14 months of those was very different. It was different in part because obviously it was new, we were new to each other, but people have a short memory about how challenging COVID was and what that meant for us in trying to take charge, if you will, in our responsibility to run the city and do the things that people expect us to do. That said, we got through that period, and I really feel in so many ways like we've only just begun. It's a very talented group of men and women. I'll just tell you anecdotally for what it's worth. When we first said we were going to do this, I thought it might be ambitious. I thought somebody might come to me and say, here's Senator Brenton Awa just walked in the room. Brenton, good to see you, Senator. Thank you. I thought to myself, you know, we're asking a lot. We're going to do this for 11 weeks, and none of these people have ever come up to me and said anything about other than the fact that they're really glad we're doing this. So without any further ado, I'd like to start off down here. We'll start with you, Brian. And just a little quick thing about what you do. Don't get hurt, please, okay? All right.
I'm excited. So, good evening. My name is Brian Gallagher. I am the Deputy Director of the City's Department of Design and Construction. So anything that is related to road repaving, sidewalk repair, drainage. We do renovations for police departments, fire departments, all the city buildings. Glad to be here. Thank you.
Aloha, everybody. I'm Donna Puna, DPP, or Department of Planning and Permitting. I think you know what we do. Thank you for having us.
Aloha kako, my name is Kehau Pu'u. I'm the Deputy Director of the Department of Parks and Recreation. Under my director, who's not here tonight, Laura Thielen, we take care of the parks, all the facilities, and also we have the Division of Urban Forestry in our department, so we manage all the city trees in our parks and streets. Aloha.
Good evening, aloha. My name is Jim Ireland. I'm the director of the Honolulu Emergency Services Department. We have EMS, the ambulance service, ocean safety, lifeguards, and the new CORE program, which is engaging the homeless in our communities. Aloha.
Aloha and good evening, everyone. My name is Denise Matsubara. I've had the privilege of joining the mayor and his team a little over a month ago. I'm the director of the Office of Housing. Thank you so much for having us this evening.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Kat Tashner, Acting Director, Department of Land Management. We protect, develop, and manage the city's land. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Erwin Kawata. I'm the Deputy Manager of the Board of Water Supply.
Aloha. My name is Stephen Courtney, the Deputy Director for Information Technology. We're the ones that provides the computer and network and communications for all these city departments. We also provide applications internally to these city departments as well as to the public. And in particular, we have a number of applications, and the main one I'd like to highlight, and there's a flyer. Yeah, there's a flyer. Please pick one up. And the main one I'd like to talk about is H&L 311. So if there's an issue you have with the city, if there's a pothole, illegal dumping, issues that you feel that are emergencies, with the emergency, please dial 911. But for non-emergencies, please use H&L 311. Mahalo.
Good evening. My name is Roger Babcock. I'm the director of the Department of Environmental Services. That's sanitation, so we take care of wastewater and refuse. Thanks.
I am Hiro Toy. I'm the director for the Department of Emergency Management. We deal with disasters.
Aloha, I'm Roger Morton. I'm the director of Transportation Services. We take care of public transportation, the bus, the handy van. Starting in July, the rail. We also are responsible for traffic engineering, traffic technology, which includes traffic signals. We do bike paths. We do other things. We do complete streets, we do pedestrian safety, we do safe routes to school, we do all the things that try to protect our keiki and the roadways.
Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Mike Formby, and I'm the Managing Director. And I think I have the best job in the city because the Managing Director's office gets to work with all of the men and women that you see here tonight. So thank you for having us.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Krishna Jaram. I'm the Deputy Managing Director. Thank you for having us, and thank you for being here.
Aloha, everybody. Jerry Papillo, Director of Enterprise Services. We're actually the ones who are supposed to have fun. So we handle the Blaisdell Complex, the Honolulu Zoo, the Waikiki Shell, and 6 municipal golf courses. Thank you for having us.
Aloha, good evening. My name is Matt Gonzer. I serve as the city's Executive Director for the Office of Climate Change, Sustainability, and Resiliency that was established by the voters in 2016, but also I serve as the Mayor's Neighborhood Board representative up here on the North Shore.
Hi, everybody. Good evening. I'm Bugs Baguio. I'm the Assistant Director of Human Resources, also proud Waialua resident and a graduate of this beautiful elementary school. Go Bull Pops! You know, I just want to tell a quick story because Mayor gave me license when we met the other day. So back in the 4th grade, I stood on this very stage and I lost the storytelling contest. And that's because I wasn't looking the judges in the eye. So I'm doing that right now to all of you. Because I'd like to ask if you or anyone you know is interested in working with all of us here, please come see one of us after the meeting and we'll tell you about all our employment opportunities. So thank you, everybody.
Aloha and good evening. My name is Warren Mamizuka. I'm the Acting Director for the Department of Facility Maintenance. So we maintain over 53,000 street lights. We do the pothole patching, stream cleaning. We also maintain and repair all public buildings. And security, parking and security. Thank you.
Hi, good evening. My name is Derek Maishura. I'm the Deputy Director for the Department of Customer Services. We have the motor vehicle registration, Satellite City Hall, driver's license. We also have a public communications division as well. Thank you. Happy to be here.
Aloha, my name is Anton Krucky, and I'm the Director of the Department of Community Services. So we do all things human services. We work with our keikis, we work with our kapuna. We also work with the service providers like Chief Zero over here with Nikki. We also do a lot of transactions where we acquire service-oriented buildings. So all things human services. Thank you.
Aloha. My name is Andy Kawana. I'm the Director of Budget and Fiscal Services. So we handle all the cash. We do the loans, and then we handle real property taxes and oversee the Treasury. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. My name is Jason Samala. I'm the Deputy Fire Chief for the Honolulu Fire Department. Like Boggs, I'm a proud resident of Waialua, born and raised in Waialua. Yeah. And still live in Waialua, and I know a lot of you, and even my grandma's in the audience, so I gotta behave tonight. And by the way, we're the guys who drive the big yellow trucks.
Aloha, I'm Keith Oricom, I'm a Deputy Police Chief, HPD, proud to serve my community.
Aloha, I'm Joe Logan, the Police Chief. I was told there'd be donuts, that's why I'm here. So.
Hello, I'm Tate Nojima. I'm the captain of District 2, which includes this area. Thank you.
Good evening, Lori Kahikina, Executive Director and CEO of HEART, the train, which we'll be handing over to Roger in a couple of months.
Aloha, good evening. Kim Sparlin, Deputy Director of the Office of Economic Revitalization. I have to say that slowly because it doesn't really roll off the tongue. But we are the newest office within city government, and we're proud to represent you in areas of regenerative tourism, sustainable agriculture and food systems, small business development, small business support. We really are grassroots oriented, so we want to hear from you to develop programs. I know that sounds kind of novel in government, but that's really where we pride ourselves and want to serve you in the vision of what you want your community to look like. So thank you for having us.
I think I'm last. And no, Lloyd Yoninaka, I am the Executive Secretary of the Neighborhood Commission, and we oversee the neighborhood boards. How many board members we got here tonight? All right. Thank you. I got to meet some of you, and I'm hopeful Kathleen will introduce me to all of you, but thank you very much for sitting on the board.
Thank you, Lloyd. And this young lady is?
Aloha everyone, Makanani Salah. I direct the Office of Culture and the Arts. I'm not from Waialua, but our sound man was born and raised in Waialua. Wait here, Dave, raise your hand. Dave Stone, Waialua Elementary, Waialua High School. So we're proud to be here and support in any way we can.
Thank you, Makanani. And our communications team is here. Scott Humber, our Director of Communications back there. Ian Shuring and Brandy Higa. And we've got a few of our other colleagues that are here tonight. And so let me just put your mind at ease. We're recording this. We chose not to go, Olela wanted to do live TV. We wanted to keep the evening intimate for everybody. But we're recording it for our sake, just so you know. Because it's our intention, as you'll see as the evening progresses, to make sure we answer all questions and we have the proper follow-up as well. So that's what's going on with the cameras, and hopefully that's not going to be a deterrent. Okay, so let's just sort of talk about the ground rules. We're here because we want to answer questions, and we want you to ask us anything you want to ask us. There are no holds barred. We've come here tonight, you know, not predicting anything. We do have a sense. We've gone back and we've read the neighborhood board meetings, the minutes, to get a sense of things. You know, but I can tell you, as maybe I said already, we've done now tonight is our 8th one, and the prior 7 have all been different. They've been interesting, engaging, and full of surprises. But we want to make sure that we answer all your questions. So to that end, we have a microphone up here. You know, what I really would prefer not to do, and you look like a tight-knit community, is not have a long line of people behind, because that's going to block the vision. We will get to you. We will get to you. And if at 9 o'clock comes and we haven't gotten there, there's going to be a couple of options. First of all, none of us are running out of here. I'm going to end it at 9 o'clock for your sake. Secondly, you'll be able to write down questions. We'll make that available to you, and we will follow up. And that's in the case that maybe you just didn't want to ask something publicly, but you really have something on your mind, okay? Now, the other thing I'll say to you is that we're here tonight to tell you the truth, okay? We're going to give you as honest a response to whatever questions you asked us as best we can. Part of what happens here, and it's happened across the board, is that you're going to get to maybe talk with one of our cabinet guys and women, and there'll be that kind of a follow-up. You know, and you know, at the end of the day, what we don't want to do and what we're not going to do, what we haven't done, is tell you what we think you want to hear, knowing full well we can't deliver, okay? That's our covenant with you. That's the integrity we bring to this hour. So I would just tell you that what we don't want to have is people coming up here making speeches. So I'm the moderator. This is meant to be as polite as possible, okay? The idea is, if you want to give us a little bit of context, that's great. But I reserve the right to say, what's the question, okay? And that's only because we want to answer as many questions as we possibly can. And we think that that's really fair. And really, I would encourage you. Look, we've had some places where people have lined up. It's not made a difference. So other places where people have sat down patiently, came up one at a time. We get to it. It works, okay? And I promise you, if for nothing else, stick your hand up and we'll make sure we get to you. So with that, why don't we just begin, okay? I didn't come here to make a speech. Kathleen.
I'm going to start because I got a bunch of smelly people back there. I'm here to represent the pickleballers for the North Shore. We just want to say, Mayor, thank you Thank you, Director Thielen. Thank you, Deputy Director Cahow. Really pleased with the way you've been treating us. We got some great courts over here in Waialua. We also want to say we have absolutely no quarrel with the tennis people. We get along just great out here. And finally, we support keeping the lessons for the tennis people. We don't want them to lose that right. Thank you, sir.
No, thank you, Kathleen. That's great. That's a great way to start off.
Aloha,
Yes,
Mr.
sir.
Mayor.
Aloha.
Thanks again for making this community meetings. Yeah, it's a real awesome thing you're doing.
Thank you.
I'm not from here. I'm from Waianae, but my question has got to do with this area.
Okay.
On Tuesday, we got notified from the environmental services that they closed in our discharge site in Pro City. We're waste haulers, septic, sewer, portable toilets, which means everybody's cesspool or septic that gets pumped here, we can't dump in Pro City no more. We got to take them to Waianae. If you have
Okay.
an emergency, you might not get pumped because if
All right.
nobody decides to go to Waianae.
I get it. So why did we do that? Is
Why
what
did
you
we
wanna
do
know.
that?
Okay,
We
so
asked the question and
this is-
nobody reached
this,
out
you know,
to
I
us.
have two men up here who happen to be doctors, by the way. Jim Island, in his modesty, who runs the EMS, said his name was Jim Island. It is, but it's Dr. Jim Island. And this is Dr. Roger Babcock. He's in charge of environmental services. Sir.
Yeah, thanks. So those of you that have cesspools or septic tanks that need to be pumped have to use the hauling service. And so, as you probably know, it gets hauled essentially to one of our wastewater treatment plants, like the same way that people who have a sewer, their waste goes there. We have several locations where waste can be hauled. And you mentioned Waianae Wastewater Treatment Plant is one. One is used to be Pearl City. It hasn't been closed yet. We're still working on, because there's been some questions about whether we could close it. But that's an unmonitored location. It's a manhole essentially, and we're not there. And so there's can be problems that we have associated with that location. Part of it has to do with some of it has to do with traffic, but part of it is we're just not monitoring. So we don't know what's going in there, when it's going in there, and it's an honor system for people who dump there. So you know, enough said about whether or not that works well. For us, it's problematic. We have other locations where it's monitored, where people have to check in, check out. We know what volume they actually put in there, and then they're charged accordingly. So right now, there's also a location, unfortunately, at Sand Island. Our location is closed right now because we're rejuvenating that facility. Our main facility is at Honolulu in Ewa Beach. So that facility remains open, and that's our largest capacity location. And I know we do understand there'll be a concern about lines and people having to have time to
Yeah, the
wait.
dump site closes it.
They do, yeah. Exactly, yeah.
That's a problem, Roger, and I don't want to bring any animosity here. It's just that this community is the biggest impact, biggest. You know what I'm saying? And then for us, like portable toilet companies, we cannot even dump in Kahuku. You don't take our waste there. You got to be just cesspool or septic. But perfect example is Pro City is central for us waste haulers. It helps us. We just been through 2 years of COVID. Some of us can borrow money to keep our businesses going.
Yeah.
Now we're gonna get one discharge site closed again without one reason that we can accept. And years ago, Roger, I don't know if you was there, but through the past administration, we've asked the city, can we get better communication between us waste haulers and the city so that you guys can hear our concerns, we can hear what you guys got to face. If you had to close this dump site in a year or two, we can plan. 30 days or 28 days, how are we going to do that? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be a major impact on our businesses as well as the people in this area. So we're asking, please, hey, if we can have a meeting with the waste haulers, if we got to come up to some kind of agreement where we got to pay a little bit more, put a security guard there so that you guys can monitor them, let's talk about it. Don't close it. Don't close it because it's going to cost us, our businesses. It's going to cost people ankle deep, maybe knee deep in waste over the weekend because we cannot dump. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah,
please,
so-
if we can communicate, any kind of communication would be better than what the past administration had. We had no communication.
Yeah.
Right now, we still no more communication. We asking if can we talk about it?
Yeah, no, I appreciate that, and we were talking about it today. So we'll get together with you and we'll talk about it.
Thank you very much. My second question, real quick.
I was going to say one question per person, but since you've been
no,
so eloquent on such an important topic, go ahead.
Okay, I was ready with my first question
all right.
about this area, but
right, go ahead.
Tuesday when it hit me again, you know what I mean? So it's like,
Go ahead.
what can we do for this community to prevent flooding? Because all the water and all the rain we're getting now, you know, I say that because my trucks pass through Haleiwa, North Shore, every single day.
Yeah.
And I look at these people and it's like, wow, you know, more got to get done. It seems like we spend the money and the attention after the storm. What can we do before the storm?
Okay. Well, you know, Brian can come up here. Matt, you might want to say something. I'm not going to lay this off on the state, but some of this stuff out here is a state issue,
Yes.
as you know.
Yes, but the
okay?
city can
But we're
twist
not
the
here to,
state's
that's
arm.
right. But we're not here to make any excuses. So I hear you. Good, Brian.
That is a tricky question. There are so many factors that come into that between state land, city land, private property, what can make it to the streams, what does not. I mean, sea level rise, increased rainfall. I mean, for the city, it would take a massive amount of coordination, drainage studies to look at these pieces. We are looking at improving your bridges. We had that emergency project a couple of years ago to make sure we could make sure your bridges are still intact. It ties into so many pieces with DOT, DLNR. It's going to take a lot of city and state coordination.
I hear you, but it's, you know, after the storm, nobody cares whose land it is. We're just cleaning it up, right?
Right.
So
no, I hear you.
We got to talk about it before the storm. You know, what can be done. I'm always raising my hand when it comes to community stuff. Take advantage of the people that want to help.
No, I hear you.
Thank you.
That's okay. Just so you know, and then Mike just reminded me, we are working on the Waialua Stream project with the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. And as Brian just said, I just want to say one thing about our team. When the bridge went down 2 years ago, we were told it would take 2 years to fix it. We got that done in 4 months, okay? You know, so yeah, I want to be careful because what you're talking about is very complex, as Brian said. We get it. We'll try to play our role as best we can, okay?
You're doing a great job, Mr. Mayor.
No.
I'm not here to bash anybody. It's just my
No,
concern.
it's okay.
That you know, that's the stuff that needs attention.
It's good. It's okay. Don't have to apologize to that. But if you do bash, we bash back. We'll have a good time.
No problem. No
All right.
problem.
No, thank you.
But I will be at the next meeting with my waste energy plan for you.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. Okay.
So I'm going to piggyback on the flood. I was a building that was flooded, has been flooded 3 times. So back in 21, we got flooded again. This last time, we had $100,000 worth of damage. I've asked, Representative Quinlan has put a flood task force together. I haven't heard anything in a few years. I know it's not just the city. I know it's the feds. It's going to take Fed money to clean up Long Bridge, which is one of the biggest factors out here.
Is that where's your house?
No, I have a commercial building.
Oh, it's a commercial building,
You
yes.
came, you shook my hand, and I was very upset that day.
Yes, I remember that.
For
This
the
job
third-
has a lot of that.
I know, but
Yeah, it
for the
does.
3rd time being flooded out, and we have been blessed, because just back in the 80s is when 5 people died that took a Quonset hut down the river, and we're waiting for that to happen. So I haven't heard, Mr. Babcock did come out, and I did see that you did dredge a small portion of Long Bridge, but that's not going to do it. So I know there's a stream maintenance man. I sure like to talk to you.
We will.
But
we'll do that.
what else is going on? Because what happens is, like this gentleman, it's after the fact. We have to be reactive. We have to be proactive
Well, we're trying to be
and not
proactive.
reactive.
We are trying to be proactive.
So I'm the crazy lady. I promised Scott I wasn't going to go crazy.
Okay.
But
we hear you. We'll follow up
Please.
with you. It's a complex, big issue. We'll follow up. Thank you. And we will follow up tonight. We will follow up with you, sir.
Hi, Mayor. My name is Bill Martin.
Hi, Bill.
I'm I'm here, I'm kind of brokenhearted today. Yesterday, the DPP came out and recommended the approval of the bypass at Laniakea, which is great. Everybody's been wanting that forever. But the main reason for the bypass was to allow for the parking to be on the ocean side of the highway. Now it's an improvement than what it was. There's a designated parking there and crosswalk, so it's much more orderly. The traffic flows better. But the problem with the plan, there's no mention at all of any parking whatsoever. And for myself, I will no longer have access. I will have to park on the highway somewhere because I surf there, believe it or not. And the only way I will be able to get there is park along the road and go along the highway. So I implore, I beg you to look at ways to make orderly designated parking on the ocean side.
Don, I don't know how much you know about that, but I appreciate that, Bill. Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you for your question. So I think you're referring to the SMA permit that we approved. Our jurisdiction over that realignment is based on standards about the special management area. So as much as we would, we understand that there is parking now, and then the SMA does not include parking, that is not within the standards of the SMA. So we can't really address that. We have to just address what's within the law for the SMA. And then this is a state highway project. So I would really encourage you to speak to the state DOT about them including parking in that overall project.
But that area is
Bill,
a city park.
All right, I'll tell you what we'll do, Bill, because this really is state. And again, I don't want to lay it off on the state. You bring a city, but we'll get your contact here. We're going to we talked to Ed Sniffen a bunch. He's a really good guy. And we'll have some direct follow-up because we start talking about SMA. We have a huge responsibility in our office. There are some things that are beyond us, and this seems like it's one of them, without trying to make an excuse.
A big part of the SMA is the recreational resources and to maintain it. And then this is not doing that at all.
Okay.
But please, it's not rocket science to try to allow for some
I
parking.
promise you in front of this group, we'll get you directly in touch with Sniffen. You make the case with Ed. Okay?
I've been in touch with him, and it's not working for me.
Okay.
But yes.
Well, I'll tell you what, we'll talk to you before
It's
the night's
on
done.
the city side is what can be done. It really is.
It is?
Because that's city and county park land there.
We'll get some more information. We'll come back with you. As I said earlier, and we mean this, and anybody who's, I know there's some faces in here who have been to other ones, we're following up, okay? This is not just tonight. We don't hit and run.
But
We follow up.
they're going to guardrail it, and I'm going to be blocked out of there forever now.
Okay, we'll try to find out,
Thank you.
okay? All right, thank you, Bill. So the line is beginning to creep up here. Okay. Your name is Bill. No, Molly and Bill, what's it? Your sister Molly?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
My name's Mike.
Mike and Molly.
Although I don't live in this part of the island, I have deep roots here. So I would like to give this to you for future reference.
Okay, thank you, sir.
The subject is property taxes. I've heard you talk on several occasions about the aberration that occurred last December.
Yes.
And you're being surprised by it and attempting to mitigate it and so on and so forth. I know the City Council has set up a PIG to look at various issues related to property taxes this time around. The thing is that last December was a blip. And it's a blip in a much longer term process. We have been undergoing assessment inflation, assessment increases for the last decade at least on a accelerating rate. Things are not just going up linearly. Things are not just going up as fast as inflation, they're going up higher.
Yes.
Okay, so my question is, what is being done to curb exponential growth in property tax assessments?
Well, Andy, I don't know if Andy, I'll let Andy talk, but let me just say something else about that, Mike, and I really appreciate the question because it did catch us off guard. And just to give everybody a perspective, you know, retail sales in real estate on Oahu, for the most part, have averaged about $7 billion a year. It's never gone over $10 billion, which was some time ago a previous high water mark. And I think it was in the 80s, before the Japanese bubble happened, okay? And last year, it was exceeded $12.5 billion. It really jumped. The best we could do in this time period was to do the $300 tax exemption to 152,000 homes. That equated to $86,000 added to the 100,000 you have as a homeowner. That's $45.5 million, just so you know. We are now looking at that in council. It's not going to be short-term. We'll let Andy talk about it. Andy not only handles all the money, but he handles a $4.5 billion budget. We're not sure where we can get the savings, how we can do it for long-term exemptions, but we know we need to address something for all the reasons, Bill, you said. Prices are not going to go back down for the most part. There may be a little bit of a dip. Inflationary cycle, look, the Fed's just raised the rates again. We get it on what we're up against. But also properties, especially out here in the North Shore, was the big driver to the increase in sales. A lot of premium properties got sold at unprecedented numbers. So I'll let Andy take an attempt. We're very mindful of this. I'm not a tax guy, but what you say is very real.
So, Mike, Andy Kawano, Director of Budget and Fiscal Services. So we use a mass market appraisal approach to value real estate, as you probably know. And the market value approach is based on property sales. And based on what the mayor said, you're right. You know, there was a definite buildup after getting out of COVID, and there are a lot of transactions that happened. But we think over time things are going to pull back because actually 2020, 2021, 2022, the values were fairly level. And just recently, just the last 2 years, everything has gone up quite a bit.
I'm talking about the last decade, last 10 years. Steady increases in assessments over the last 10 years. What's happening to bring those under control?
If you look at the last decade, you kind of skew it because there was the Great Recession, right, from 2008 to 2012. Everything was pretty level and came down. Then it's gone up, it leveled off again, and it's gone up again. The average increase across the island for the last 30 years is about 5%. And we have, like everything else, we have to balance the budget. So we gave it, you know, our best shot in terms of the credit, the one-time credit that'll go out July 1st. And you're right, we have a permitted interaction group, and we are going to look at all of the tax bills in front of us, you know, involving the low-income tax credit. We're going to look at the exemptions that homeowners receive. We're going to look at empty homes, the empty home tax. So there's a lot of things we're going to look at, but at the same time, we have to realize that we have to balance the budget. So,
okay. Once again, those are all very good short-term solutions. I don't see them doing much in the long term. So I would recommend that the mayor take a look at the information.
We'll take a look at it, sir. We got it. We'll get Mike. Is your contact information there?
Pardon me?
Is your contact information there? We'll get it. Chamara, get Mike's contact. We'll get you.
Yes, sir.
Got it right here. Thank you. Okay. Thanks, Andy. Look, that's a complicated issue. Some of these issues are very complicated. We're going to try to be direct in what we can. If we can answer something right now, we will. But some stuff like this, which may or may not be of interest to everybody, it's the person up to the microphone, are just not easily solved, hand and microphone answered. Blake, right? Yes. Okay, Blake, come on up.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, everyone, for coming out. I was just hoping that I'm going to introduce Dave Fuga from Mauna Kekai Canoe Club, and he has many of his members here in orange. If they could kind of either stand or ease their way up. We also have members of Haliva Outrigger Canoe Club, as well as many youth paddlers. So Dave's going to summarize some of the impacts that the important project that we're so grateful that your administration and the Parks Department has put forward for the first time in the executive CIP budget to build a canoe halau at the area Ma'aea in the city planning documents. It's called Haleiwa Beach Park Mauka or Haleiwa Regional Park. As you know, the canoe halau all around the island provide an incredible resource for young people and families, and so for 20 years, the community has worked with the city in planning, and we're hoping that Dave can explain to you and ask you, what can we do to make it happen under your administration?
Okay. Hello, Mr. Mayor.
Hello, Dave.
Thank you it's an honor to be here. Never been to a meeting like this, but this is something that is very near and dear to my heart and obviously to a lot of the community. So I'm the president of Manu'a Kekai, and just here in Haleiwa towns, we service 3 high schools, and I find it very unfortunate that, the city and the state, they give us these revocable permits to operate on the beach, which basically gives us a piece of sand, and they don't understand maybe what it takes to actually run a canoe club. And I've been running a canoe club for very, very long, and, over 100 keiki and 100 adults that come, and we have scholarship programs, and we're doing things and helping perpetuate our culture. And we have very limited resources as far as where to store our canoes and our equipment. Manu'a Kekai has been blessed. We've built some structures to help us. But having this halau that, has already been approved, the budget has already been approved, would allow us to store something precious like our koa canoe, which is priceless, that right now sits on the beach and it's just open for anything to happen, and these things are priceless. And I just, if it's in the budget, and I would like to know what
Dave, I don't know, and I'm not going to cut you short, but I want to find out, Kehau, or who's going to speak to this? Brian, Mike? Okay.
So for the Haleiwa Canoe Halau, so we're still in the planning scoping phase of that project. So we have funding, we're moving forward, and we're looking to start construction on the Mauka side of the road, which I know is not ideal for your access to the water and everything. But we're looking at starting in first quarter of 2025. I think we're going to start our bidding phases to get ready for construction. But we are working on that to create something for you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Kehau, go ahead. You know anything about this?
No.
Parks and Rec, that's it? Mike?
It's on the radar. It is a priority. We've been talking a lot about it. I think Heidi Tsuneyoshi was advocating strongly for it as well. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mike wants to say something. Go ahead.
Yeah, I appreciate you bringing this up. It was Heidi Tsuneyoshi when she was on the council, came to the mayor and I and asked us to commit to this, and the mayor has committed to this project. It will happen under this administration.
So as we get further along through our planning, scoping phase, and how we're going to do this, we'd like to meet with the community, get you guys' comments, let you get involved, and see how we can make this a situation that fits what you guys need.
We got carpenters, we got masons, we got whatever you need.
I like that. I like that.
I like that too.
That will definitely help the budget if we could do that. But yeah, let's talk layout, design. Let's talk about kind of what really works for the community, what you guys really want.
David, I promise you, I know you said you've never been in a meeting like this. Your life just changed because we're going to get you direct contact. No, that's the whole idea. We want to be able to I want to get you direct contact, and Brian and his director, who's Haku Mills, not here tonight, his wife just had a baby. These are really good young men. And look, I still have a Boston accent since 1965, okay? I can't help it. But, my heart has been here for a lot of years. That's how I got to be in this office. I really appreciate what canoe clubs mean to our community and the soul of our community. And for that matter, recreational things. Everybody's got to sacrifice a lot to live here. And I've said this in other town meetings. Anything that we can do to make people feel safe and increase the opportunities for them to play. Because as Mike just said, that was up here, taxes, nothing's getting cheaper by the day, but things that we can do in our control, we want to do. So I admire what you've done, the group that's come here tonight. You have our attention. I wish we could get that done tomorrow, but I know how important it is. Okay? It's to the soul of this place, and I understand that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Okay. Let me see if I remember. Is it Alex?
Patrick.
What is it?
Patrick.
Patrick? Wow, that's away from Alex. I don't know how I got Alex.
You forgive me.
Go ahead, Patrick.
First of all, I'd like to say thank you for coming out here, but I do want to thank all your employees of the city and county for working for us.
Thank you.
My concern is now directed to the parks. I live next to Kayaka Beach Park, along the fence line, the ironwood trees. I'm sure you will know all well about it. There's several homeowners here as well. And for years, this is now 13 years on this issue. We've come to the neighborhood board, we've gotten their support, we've gotten our city council, but when it gets to the mayor's desk, everything dies.
Well, what's the question, Patrick?
The ironwood trees are too high, and it doesn't provide a safety net for when we get the quiet storms coming in.
Okay.
That was all of the issues that we wanted them to bring it down. The city would take it down 10 feet. Last time they did it was 3 years just before you took office. Since then, it's grown 20 feet high. And this is where we're
These are ironwood trees that grow that fast? Wow.
The tree itself is almost 50 to 60 feet high. I've had my city council actually come out to my home, and when he stood right next to my fence line, he was afraid. He stood away.
Okay. Kale, you want to take that? Yeah?
Yeah, I'll take it. Thank you. Thanks for making us aware of the problem. I will say, we do try to malama and preserve the tree canopy, but I can see that there's a safety concern here. So I will give you my card, and we can come out and we could come out and do a site visit with you.
It gets even better now. For 13 years, our concern was about the height and safety. Now it's changed because a lot of the homeowners along that entire fence line, their cesspools are directly in the back of the home or on the side. We have those ironwood roots coming straight towards our cesspools.
So you want the trees removed?
Exactly. Remove those trees. Put those trees that you can have a root system that will not affect the homeowner's cesspool or livelihood, and that you can maintain. That will end the situation once and for all. It won't be, because every time you folks come back out 3 years later, it costs the taxpayers more money because of the height that they have to go. And if you have to replace the city county is
Patrick, how many trees are you talking about? Roughly.
I lost count at maybe 30 of those trees got to come out on that fence line.
That's a lot.
Yeah, we've never had a request like that. One tree is one thing, 30 trees.
Well,
yeah, I hear you.
What's going to happen to the homeowners when their cesspools get clogged up? The city comes to them and says, well, I'm sorry, your cesspool, you know what, I need to condemn your home. I mean,
Patrick, you bring up a good point, and I don't have an immediate answer, but I think let's go and get familiar with the situation.
And I'm not an arborist, but we just got a brand new administrator for our Division of Urban Forestry on board. She is an arborist. She's great. She came from UH, University of Hawaii at Manoa, and so I think what we'll do is schedule a site visit. We'll come out and meet with you, and we'll bring our arborists, some of our staff to assess, and then we can talk story and have a discussion.
If I may, Mr. Mayor?
Yes, Patrick.
Give me a moment, please.
The young man with the yellow pad is named Shamara Silva. He's one of our outstanding young people on our team. So he's taken. Yes, sir. You want to show me a picture? I think I know what an ironwood tree looks like.
No, this is hollow. This is the tree that's hollow.
Oh, okay.
This is what they look like. And our arborist, the last time the city came out, the arborist said there was nothing wrong with the trees.
Okay.
A lot of these trees.
Well, let's get a new arborist to take a look at that, because I'm not an arborist, but I hear you.
Well, if you're going to send the same one we have.
No, she's brand new.
The arborist needs to find out
I'm going to bring our new
what happens,
forestry
not only on the height, but what happens to our cesspools. I mean.
Patrick, you raise a good issue. We're very aware of the cesspools.
Okay.
We are.
Thank you. All right.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Okay. I remember Lee, right?
Yeah.
I want to get no.
No.
All right.
No.
I'll stop doing that then.
Okay.
All right. But I know one thing. You've been here since the 50s.
Yeah, I've been. I talked to the mayor a little bit earlier about the Halau Beach Park. I've been there before the park was born. The park, after 1969, the big swell came through, over 100-foot waves. I've seen it. Good thing they put all the sand and the rocks over on the hills, because that stopped the waves from going into the houses across Haleiwa Road. Now, since they built the Haleiwa Surf Center, I've had things where I work with the surf center and kids. I've been working with kids since the 60s till present. I'm still working with them. I love my kids. I love our community and all that. I brought a problem up with the neighborhood board, and I have to say, the neighborhood board is 100% in the back of our community, and they listen. They don't just sit up there. They listen to what the community was. Now, I got word that they're thinking about contracting permits out or getting a permit so they can do weddings at the beach. Okay? They can do functions at the beach just by getting a permit. They can get marriage license at the permit. Our community say no. That beach was built for our community. That beach was built for the people of Oahu. Anybody is welcome. But do not come to the beach and do a wedding. That's a bunch of bull.
Okay.
Like I said, Mayor, I work with the kids. I have the longest running surf contest in the world that I started 53 years ago. The Manihuni contest that you see ago, we started that 48, 49 years ago, and it's still running to today. Why? Our community is 100% of making it happen. Please, don't issue more permits for the park. And the buses, keep them away, because safety-wise, you got the fire department here. When you got all the traffic down there, the fire department has to come down the middle of the roadway where you guys bail off so they can get to the thing. How much is a life is worth? Okay?
Okay. So I understand it, and I don't know what you heard or who you heard it from.
I've seen it where
on the permits?
Yeah, I've seen where guys came down and they said they got a permit for it and all that.
Yeah,
and I said, no, you don't. We'll call the cops and have the cops ordeal and remove them off the beach in a nice way.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. We're working on a Build 19. It's in its early stages right now. And there's a lot of beaches, depending on where they are, and different. It's going to be different. So that's really premature, but it's something we said we would do when I signed a bill called, I think it was Bill 38. We eliminated the commercial activity at Waimanalo. People didn't think we would sign that, but we did. And so we're evaluating a lot of things right now. And I would think from what you've just described, not likely that's going to happen. So I appreciate your concern.
I thank you.
All right,
thank you very much.
Thank you. Sir.
Hello, Mr. Mayor.
Hello.
Thank you for being here. I know it takes a lot of civic stamina to do these things, and you're doing really good.
Thank you.
My name is David Thompson. I have a question for the Parks Department about the draft rules regarding the tennis court use. Just for context, the tennis courts, which I can see right over there, we got 4 courts here in Waialua, and we have lessons that are sponsored by the U.S. Tennis Association,
right.
Yeah, which is like AYSO or like Little League, nonprofit. The draft rules that the Parks Department has come up with would prohibit tennis lessons, tennis instruction in any park with fewer than 8 courts. So we only have 4 courts. So it would destroy our tennis lessons. Dozens of people, maybe our tennis people could stand up so we could sort of get a sense. Dozens of people every week, keiki and adult, benefit from these lessons. We started playing during the pandemic. We never played before. We got totally hooked. We're out every week.
Great.
It's just a wonderful recreational opportunity that we have. So my question is, where are we at in the in changing these rules, and what can we do in Waialua where we're not having the same problems that they're having on the bigger urban courts? What can we do to save our thriving tennis community in Waialua?
Hi, Aloha. Thank you for your question. Well, so first I just want to explain the complexity and the challenges of us as a city. We are trying to make our facilities available to all and accessible to all. So we have, pickleball, tennis, and we're trying to balance community use from instructional use, and so I just want to share that. And it's tough, and you know, we have a limited amount of facilities, and pickleball has grown.
Yeah.
So so with that, it was a framework that we put together, and with the purpose of gathering input and feedback. And so we do recognize that there are some communities like this one, right? More country, more rural, less facilities, where I think we're looking at reconsidering making exceptions for these kinds of areas where there's limited use. And that being said, though, I do want to, again, emphasize like our kuleana that we have to ensure that we can provide access to all users.
Sure.
But, so it's not set in stone. I just want you to know that. I believe we are trying to make some adjustments or modifications, but I think Shamara is getting people's contact information, so we'd be happy to take yours and, you know, continue this conversation. We welcome your input as well.
Quick follow-up, where are we at in the process? What's the timeline?
I don't have the timeline right now, like I said, so we had that framework, the draft, we're gathering input and making modifications. After this, it'll have to go through review with our corporation counsel, which is our legal department. So there's still some time. It's taken a while. I don't want to give you a false, I don't want to say, oh, 3 months, yeah. But we're not as far along as maybe you folks think we are.
And then
like I said, that was
the
a
other question was,
framework.
what can we do to help? The way it is now, the individual park directors get the final say on whether there's like a conflict or whether it's okay. What can we do as a community to help keep that as it is, at least for Waialua?
You mean so that the individual park directors have?
Right. The way it is now, the park directors like get to say on whether to allow lessons or not. And we're like a nonprofit organization leading these lessons. We're not like a wedding photography.
So that's what we want to create some consistency right across the island, looking at larger communities or urban areas versus smaller rural communities. So it won't. So we want to get away from these individual park-based decisions. So that's what the rules will help support to do. So they'll provide guidelines for our park directors, and depending on the size of the park, there will be a certain type of guideline to follow. What you can do now, again, is provide your input, your thoughts on what you've seen on the framework. That would be helpful.
Great. Thank you very much.
Mike, did you want to say something? Step to the bill.
I just wanted to add that on the way out here, we went through, I think, 2 letters and an email from the Waialua community on that issue. And Mayor and I got Laura on the phone, Laura Thielen, the director, and we read the letters to her and talked to her about what the sentiment was, and she absolutely said that they're going back to rethink that because she understands that some communities are different, and if they apply those rules, it would prejudice those communities. So it is being rethought. I would encourage all of you, and for the last gentleman, Bill 19 is before council. This is your opportunity to weigh in. You really have to write your council member, Matt Wire, and let him know how you feel about the use of parks. And you can continue to send emails and letters to the administration because we review those with the mayor and then we follow up with the directors. Input is essential from the community, and we read it and we care. So really, give us your input.
Thanks for reading those.
Yeah, and you got a voice too. Follow up. She'll follow up with you, Bill. But really, you have a voice at the table here. We want to hear. That's why we're doing this. That's why we're doing this. Okay. Well, what matters?
Awesome. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor. So I think I've seen you somewhere before, but I don't know where. Well, my name is Carol Phillips, and I am tonight wearing my board member for the North Shore Chamber of Commerce. And we're concerned because we're, I think, getting ready to perhaps, maybe, hopefully, put some walkways in Haleiwa. And as that process goes, as that process is happening, and when it's finished, there's a lot of ad hoc parking that will be lost. And Haleiwa is kind of a unique town because so many of the merchants there are actually local people, small businesses. It's one of the probably small business hubs on the island, and so we're really concerned about the parking.
All right. So Roger, you want to take this? We've talked about this today. Go ahead. I'm aware of what you're talking about.
Sure, I'm aware of the current issue. of cars being towed and business owners that used to do it one way are doing it a different way. I think the real issue that this community has in Haleiwa and northward is that there's just too many cars. And there needs to, I think part of the solution for that, from my perspective, would be that as a, I'd like to see if we could develop some type of mobility center in Haleiwa, a mobility center that we could hopefully attract federal dollars to help us do that. My view is that combining parking, improving our bus our shuttle bus area. I've talked to some of the operators that are interested in doing that, and providing better bicycle trails in the area is something that we could do to just make it a better one. What we need to do is we need to figure out a way that we can have people keep coming, keep spending, but treat it more like a national park, like Yosemite, where there are alternatives. Not everybody has to drive to the beach. You can park in an off-site area. Perhaps the city could help develop that. And from my perspective, I'd like to, we don't have a plan. We have maybe a vision of what we might do, but I think it would be. I asked one of my people to repurpose one of the planning studies we're doing now to include looking at Haleiwa with a need for a mobility center, and our pledge is that we would want to work with the community to have that vision, share that vision, and see where we can get with that. As you know, we do have the new federal program, the Intermodal Jobs Act, that provides a lot more money than we had in the past for doing those types of projects. A lot of discretionary money. And what it will take will be a consensus, and that's always hard to get in a community, but I think that from my perspective, our department would love to sit down with the community and see what we can come up with.
Thank you, Roger. Brian, is there anything you want to say about when are the sidewalks due to go in? Walkways?
Yeah, we're currently in design on a permeable pavement sidewalk structure system through Haleiwa town. So we're going to be repaving the roads, and we're also looking in the areas that have always been, it's mud, it's gravel, it's a combination, it's been a kind of a nuisance for the community. We're looking to go to construction for that in probably around springtime of 2024. Our goal is to get out of the North Shore prime tourist season where everybody's here and hit that in-between period between winter and summer to try and get in there so it's the least impact to the community. But we're really looking forward to actually getting some kind of better sidewalk system for Haleiwa.
Walkways. Okay.
Walkway, yes, true.
Thank you.
Can I just, two more quick issues. I don't need answers to them, but I just wanted to bring up putting on another hat. And this might seem trivial, but children really like swing sets in parks. And it's a thing.
Yeah, that's come up in a bunch of places. I don't know what happened to swings. When I was a kid, we used to go to the park and go on swings. Somebody must have fallen off a swing, got a fancy lawyer, sued some city for more money than they ever had, and that's what happened, that kind of liability. I'm guessing, I don't know if corporate counsel was here tonight, but because I've noticed that we don't have swings in parks anymore. Okay, we'll try to find out why.
And then,
I think it's something like that.
Lastly, and I just want to say that I very much second all of the other issues that were brought up tonight. I think they're really important.
Yes.
And then finally, I just want to give a shout out to our lifeguards and how much we appreciate the work that they do in our community.
Very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
You know, we say it all the time, that we have the world's greatest watermen. I mean, there really is. This ocean out here that you all know and know so well is one of a kind, if you will. And those people and what they're willing to do to save lives is truly heroic. In fact, there's a lot of issues that we have about, quite honestly, how our ocean safety has not gotten the respect. And Jim is in charge of it. When you look at the facilities that they have out here and what they deserve, and it's one of the things where you don't even have to ask us about it. We're all over it. Sir.
Yeah, my name's Richard Ames, and I'd like to thank yourself and your posse for coming out tonight. It's fantastic.
Thank you.
The North Shore is a very small community, and it's made up of residential neighborhoods, which is made up of homes, parks, churches, and schools.
And people.
And, well, the people that are in those homes, yes, and the children that play in those parks and ride their bikes in the park and up and down the streets. Well, the tourism industry in the past has not been an honest broker with the North Shore. They have been pretty much no restraint and no respect. If somebody's going to take a bite off the apple, they want the entire barrel. And they want it now, and they want another barrel there filled for the next day. I could go on that, but my question for you is, why did you sign Bill 38 but not Bill 34? And why do residential neighborhoods have to be targeted as part of the revenue stream by bringing in commercial activities right in the heart of the residential communities?
We haven't targeted anything to do that.
Well, what's Bill 19 going to do?
Well, what we're trying to do is come up with a system that we said we would do, and that is to evaluate those beaches around the island that could withstand commercial activity and those that shouldn't have it. That's what that's about.
Do you know what the priorities will be for that? Will it be parking, size of the beach?
All of that.
Because there's no...
All of that, sir.
Okay.
Because there are a lot of our beaches can't accommodate buses. You know, they can't
Well, they have been
cars.
at my house for
Well, they have been.
quite
We
a
know
while.
that. That's what this is about.
Yeah.
Look, let me say something about the overrun of tourism, okay? And I usually don't say this publicly, but since you're sort of challenging us a bit, you know, and you asked me why I didn't sign 34, I signed 38 because what was going on in Waimanalo was wrong.
It was here, too,
I
though.
wasn't aware of it here.
Well, you should have been.
Well, you know what? Why don't you come to my office because I didn't know about it.
I went to a lot of city council meetings to get Bill 34
Okay?
out.
So let me just say this to you. We're very aware of the overrun of tourists, okay? We're very aware of that. And to the extent possible, which is why we signed Bill 41, which is short-term vacation rentals. In 2019, before COVID, we had 10.5 million visitors and 3 million stayed in illegal vacation rentals. A lot of them were out here. We have all the mapping software. We know where it was. And we've now, through DPP, and it's taken us over a year, getting through COVID, to set up a collections agency, to hire the inspectors. We've begun issuing notices of violation. We're going to go forward, and we're going to start to fine. The fines are steep. They're $10,000 a day. But it's about taking control, to your point. We're trying to take control. Bill 19, Bill 38, Bill 41 is all stuff we did in Hanauma Bay is all about trying to create an overrun, not to eliminate an overrun. Because if you talk to the hotel guys, they'll tell you, in our state, at a high level of occupancy, since we haven't been building new hotel rooms, the sweet spot for visitors is about 8 million. Last year, post-COVID in 22, we did 9.2, and that was without the Japanese. So we know what we're up against. I just don't know what Bill 34 is about. And you know, it's the first time I've been out here, but nobody has come to us about Waialua. We listen to the people at Waimanalo. We're here tonight to learn about that. But please put it in the right context.
Well, Bill 34 you did see because you didn't sign it or it just didn't get to you. But it was sent back to the city council unsigned. That's how it became a law. And now Bill 19 is there to take that law back, that bill back, that was working out here.
We're not done yet with that. We
Well,
think
I
that
hope
Bill
not.
19 is going to take quite a while to talk through. There's several bills like that. That's why we're doing this stuff. We want to be really fair and really smart and what's the right thing to do for a community. That's honestly, sir, that's the best I can tell you.
Well, we'll see. Right now, we've had very little results. You know that we were told to call 911 if we wanted somebody to see an illegal tour bus park. 911, I'm sure that these gentlemen right here and the fire department don't want their most valuable asset, one of their most valuable assets, used about reporting tour buses.
I don't know who told you that. I agree, but I agree with you.
Yeah.
We shouldn't be
Okay.
calling 911 on
Thank you.
buses. Thank you. Sir.
Aloha, Mr. Mayor.
Aloha.
Thank you for coming. I have 3 items I wanted to bring up. The first one was shoreline access. The second one, which was mentioned previously, is bike path, sidewalks. And the third one was beach parks, but in a slightly different perspective than what was brought up previously.
Okay.
With the beach parks, what I'm talking about is the surf center that was recently referenced over in Haleiwa Beach Park in Ali'i's. It looks great, with everything being refurbished, a brand new center. It kind of looks up to date. It represents the town for what it looks like it once was. In some of our old beach parks, it looks like they're just run down. Some of the, like over at Monuments, the structures are deteriorating. I know that they rebuilt the seawall over there, but just a little walkway with the awnings, it would provide nice shade. Just different things that would benefit the community.
So help me understand your question on 3 different topics is.
That was just the beach parks.
All right, no. Okay, but let's get to a question. What can we do? What can we do for you? What would you like?
Well, just keeping on with what's going on.
Yeah,
I think it's a great step with what's happened over at Ali'i's, and it would be nice to see that continuing on, because then it might take some of the stress from some of the beaches away, where then the tourists have maybe a different place to park, there's more access, it might clear up some of the parking in Haleiwa town, whatever.
Okay.
The second one with the shoreline access locations, and that's kind of to deal with the erosion that's going on our beaches right now, and also, just having a clean spot to access the beaches. I don't know if you've been down to the shoreline access locations down by Pipeline and stuff like that, but a lot of them are deteriorated, they're falling over. The concrete has degraded, and it's a safety issue. Some of them are blocked off. But another thing is what's happening then is, rather than people going out in a dedicated place to get to the beach, it's spreading out along the beach, which is causing more foot traffic. And
right. And that's all state stuff, and I'm not passing the buck. And before Governor Ige left office, we started to have some meetings with DLNR. We're very aware of this coastal erosion, what's happened, and what we're going to do. I think, everybody on our end is going to do what we can do, what we're supposed to do, but we're dealing with some real unprecedented conditions.
Right. No, I understand that. I'm just, with the city and county, I know that the county has the beach parks, and that might be a good opportunity to demonstrate what is an appropriate way to manage our beaches, to manage our shorelines.
Does anybody want to add anything to beach parks? Matt, can you help on that? Hale's up here. Okay.
Well, I can just share. So one of the things that we actually put it in our budget this year is we want to do an assessment of all our shoreline, our beach parks, because they're susceptible to erosion and sea level rise. And so the plan is to, because for some of our parks, we cannot build new because they're too close. They're like within the setback. So we have a plan. We want to do an assessment of all these parks to look at. And I'm going to be honest, though, it'll be long term. It's not something that's going to happen in the next couple of years. But thinking long term, and this is my director, Laura Thielen's, her vision is to do this assessment and to look at, okay, what can we preserve and save and continue to maintain? What will we have to move, and what will we have to move further inland? Are we looking at areas across the street to rebuild or construct new parks there? Because it's a real problem, and we cannot keep band-aiding the situation. So that is one of our that's one of our plans, is to do this island-wide assessment, because it's also on the west side of the island as well.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
I'm fine with the long-term solution, because I'm thinking about my girl who's 1 year old.
And that's what you should.
I want her to
and honestly, everything we talk about is for future generations.
Right.
So thank you. I appreciate it.
And then the third item was the.
Did I say one question per person earlier?
Well,
I did. I want to get through this line. We've got an hour. Come back. Let me just get that. Thank you, sir.
And Mayor, just a comment on the shoreline access. Obviously, the specific beach right-of-ways is one difficult thing, but looking at the beach parks themselves, this community obviously has already taken leadership, right? Folks probably remember the great partnership with the North Shore Land Trust, the Sea Grant College program. We're trying to take those lessons in other beach parks as well that Kehau just mentioned, really allowing people an opportunity to have hands in on restoration, which is also protection of some of the assets and the resources. But beaches are living systems. They need room to breathe. And right now we're really pinched if you're just thinking about one beach right-of-way relative to the ocean coming in as well. So what really is important is the continued public education that you all do, recognizing that foot traffic actually is a real thing that depresses and deflates beaches. And that was part of the point and intention with a lot of the signage up at Sunset. And we're trying to find ways that we can replicate that in other areas, but certainly on the North Shore, it's just such a high energy system, and these are going to be things that require more collaboration moving forward.
Thank you.
Thank you, Matt. Thank you. Thank you very much. Sir, thank you.
My name is Stan May, and I would like to start with a special thanks to Mayor Blangiardi for restoring free speech in the city and county of Honolulu and taking questions from the floor. The last town meeting I came to under Caldwell, you had to write your questions on a 3x5 card, and he shuffled through quite a few cards before he found a question that wouldn't embarrass him.
Well, thank you. That's okay.
And the same thing is done at the military bases. So thank you for restoring our constitutionally guaranteed right of freedom of speech.
Thanks for saying that. Thank you. Thank you.
I have a question as to why the city isn't doing more for affordable housing and why they're not looking at what's done with different jurisdictions.
Well, we're doing a lot on affordable housing.
Yeah, but I would say, let's see, property taxes, you know, if you look at other jurisdictions, if a house is not owner occupied, it can pay up to 3 times the property taxes.
We're aware of that.
We think our taxes are high, but a house that's paying $3,000 a year in property taxes would be $30,000 in the Northeast.
Mm-hmm.
And you have buyers coming in from out of state and thinking, wow, very low property taxes, it's a steal.
Well, I think you heard Andy, I'm not trying to cut you off. I think you heard Andy say, we're going to take, and I said earlier, I'm not a tax guy, but this situation is we're going to take a lot of look at long-term and doing things that haven't been done before.
Okay.
Because we're at that moment in time. With respect to affordable housing, one of the biggest challenges we had coming in was to define what is the role of the city when it comes to creating housing. You know, we don't have a team that goes out and builds housing, but we understand the incredible need, the fundamental need to have houses that people can actually afford to live in. Mm-hmm. It's been talked about forever. We have a deficit of over 23,000 units. A lot of it's in the urban core, not so much out here. You know, and quite honestly, in trying to build urban housing in areas like this or affordable housing, we run into a lot of NIMBYism, you know, not here, go somewhere else. But I think you met Denise earlier. We've done some things already in just 2 years that have never been done before. And there's a lot more to come. So I can only tell you we're being very proactive.
For example, if you look at Colorado, they have deed-restricted housing.
Right.
So affordable housing here, it's a huge taxpayer subsidy. Somebody gets into affordable housing, they can sell it at market rate after 10 years.
Right.
In Colorado, it's deed restricted. You're only allowed 4% appreciation per year. They look at housing as shelter, not investment. And I think that's what should be done here. But I'll tell you, we have special interests that shoot these initiatives down. You know, realtors and also developers and construction industry, okay? And, you know, there's not a lot of money coming from affordable housing advocates. You know, we can't compete with these special interests and the millions of dollars they have in campaign contributions.
Okay.
So just appealing to your conscience, the city can do a lot more for affordable housing.
So, Mr. Mayor?
Go ahead.
Is it okay if I say a few? So,
please.
Thank you. Denise Matsubara for the Office of Housing. I've only been with the city for a little over a month, but prior to that, I was the executive director for the State Hawaii Housing Finance and Development Corporation. So for affordable housing, to make housing affordable takes a lot of government subsidy, and the biggest program around is the low-income housing tax credit. That's a federal program by the IRS. So the state has a low-income housing tax credit program as well, but it takes about $160,000, $170,000 per unit of government subsidy in terms of gap financing. From the state, it's called the Rental Housing Revolving Funds, and it has to be coordinated with tax-exempt private activity bonds. It comes together in a very complex financing structure. The city, under this administration, has decided to invest in affordable housing, and they have activated the Affordable Housing Fund, which takes about 0.5% of the real property tax to help contribute to that financing stack to make it happen. Under Department of Community Services, Anton Krucky, they have awarded some funds in 2022. I believe it was just under $30 million.
Yeah, it was 40 when it went out. It was 40 when it went out. One property came back. But to your point about Denver, so what we've changed is when we top off these developments, right, with the money from the Affordable Housing Fund and other funds that we scrape it from, they have to stay at the 60% AMI for 60 years. So that we have other ways than Denver has to cap these things that way to keep them affordable, but we do that.
So if I could just add to that, for Waialua specifically, I believe it's Waialua Mill Camp got an award for $3.5 million, and it's roughly going to be about 270 units, just under that. That will be right here in Waialua. So that's what's coming up in terms of affordable housing.
But we really need to tax out-of-state buyers of second homes a lot more in order to fund affordable housing.
We don't, you know what, we don't really disagree with that. That's one of the things we've been talking about. Look, thank you. You know, since he's not in the room, I can only say this on behalf of Denise. The fact that she's on our team, Governor Josh Green's not very happy with me. But if you want to talk about things we need to get done as a city, you need the expertise. I opened up earlier tonight talking about our team collectively and as you get to experience them. But Denise has brought us a wealth of information and know-how, and we plan on capitalizing on that. Yes, ma'am.
Aloha kako. Thank you for your time this evening and listening to our community. My name is Leilani Feliciano, and my husband Flynn and I live on Ho'omana Place in Mokuleia, next to the condemned city beach access. I asked for just a moment to briefly explain a complex situation. For the past couple years, and this past year in particular, we've been corresponding with the city about a blowhole that is undermining into our property from the city beach access. And we have received written acknowledgement from the city that it is from city land into our property. While Parks and Recs and also Department of Design and Construction have come out to see the property, the problem continues to grow with no stated plan for action. In addition, it has become apparent through my correspondence with the city and the state that there is a disconnect and unwillingness to work together to find a solution. And I would like to just mention as well that a representative from DLNR, which I know is state, said to me that he hopes that our property, quote, falls into the ocean. Regardless, however, this issue affects not only our property, but the adjoining seawalls we are connected to, as our property is serving as a cornerstone failure. With our knowledge on the issue and the history of the property, which there is a contested history, as mindful constituents, we are doing our best to pursue the proper channels to try and find a solution. For us, this is the house we plan to have and grow our keiki in, live in, and we just need to know what we can do.
Okay, thanks. Brian, you're the...
So just for everyone's understanding, what is your assessment of kind of what's going on underground?
Yes. So I've read through the entire FEA final and environmental assessment from the case that happened with our house currently. They had proposed multiple solutions that the city needed to take in order to find a permanent solution so this problem wouldn't happen again. Nothing was done. This was in 2016 through 18. We've been following up since 2017 to see what could be done for the solution, but basically the water's coming from the beach access behind our seawall. Our wall's been there since the 70s. It's not formulated or engineered to take water from the back. It's meant to take it from the front. So it's undermining behind our property.
So the video you have, and we were talking earlier, is you actually, in the city's beach access, there's an actual blowhole.
Yes.
Right there. And from that blowhole, it looks like it's creating something underground, and we're not really sure what's going on underground, because it sounds like there is some kind of void. No one knows really how expansive it is. It looks like it's affecting your concrete slabs somehow underneath the ground. There's a crack. So is it getting into your home? Is it actually affecting the house structure, or is it just the concrete slab?
So far, just the concrete slab.
So we've received letters. We've received a number of letters. I'm becoming aware of this now because I've been in the department for a few months. I know we got our contact information. You have additional photos and video. I want you to send that to me, and we're going to send that to our legal counsel, because there's a disconnect between private property and city property, and there's a line where we can only go so far. I understand your concerns with DLNR. And that's going to become really the tricky ground. Is the Office of Coastal and Conservation Lands, where their jurisdiction is. We're having conversations with them now on an issue in Lanikai, and they're being very clear with us that Once that, whatever that high water mark is and any splashes, that's state property, and they have total right and jurisdiction over what we can do. If it goes beyond into to elevated and you don't get a response from DLNR, even though I want us to work together further on this, it goes to the DLNR board for their review of what can be done within private property and somehow. But it doesn't sound like it's a beach erosion issue. It sounds like there's something underground within the coral or rock, and there's some kind of hole underneath there, and we really don't know.
Yes, and I'd like to acknowledge there is prior case that is a lot of legislation and literature on the issue at our property, but regardless of the issues between city and state, and no matter where we live or where our house is in relation to the ocean, we're still people and human beings stuck in the middle of this, worried about our house, hearing a blowhole by our bedroom window at night, breathing. I have videos of things blowing out of it. And it's very scary to know, and we've been told by city officials that have come to look at our property that everything in front of this crack is already undermined, which is 2 feet from our house, and coming from city land.
Yeah, this is.
I don't know. Well, look, you're aware of this. You have all the documentation.
Yeah, we have some.
We'll make the contact. You want to give it to Brian?
Yeah.
We'll follow up. I don't know if we can remedy everything, but I promise you, we'll take a really hard look at this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sir.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Adam Borello. I'm with the North Shore Community Land Trust, like the reference earlier from Matt to some of the work we've done. I have one question, but it applies to 3 issues, so I'll be really quick. Number one, we started, as Matt referenced, a dune restoration project out at Sunset Beach back in 2017. I like to believe that the collaborative work, largely supported and pushed by the community together with the city, the state, and also quality partners, Sea Grant, University of Hawaii, Outdoor Circle, North Shore Outdoor Circle, has made a meaningful difference with regard to what's going out there from an erosion standpoint at Sunset Beach. I just want us to be able to get that dune restoration project across the finish line. We need some support and help from the city, both in the fence, with regard to the fencing. The Land Trust and the community have been shouldering exclusively the cost of maintaining the planting, and also taking care of the planting. And we'd also like to get across the finish line. We put in one...
That we don't know anything about. I want you to get Mike Formby's card, he's my managing director.
With all due respect, I've had conversations with Matt. I've also had conversations with Josh Dambro prior to Matt. So I appreciate what Matt's done, but there are specific things, and I think that this is an opportunity, Mayor, where we can make good on the public-private partnership kind of thing. So yeah, if we could just get that across the line.
We'll follow up with you. We
awesome.
will. It's a very complicated thing to get done here, and I'm concerned about our timing and people behind you, but go ahead.
Okay, I'll be quick with the other two, because I just think there are other wonderful opportunities where we can be proactive. We recently got control of 30 of the acres at Waialua, which we're stewarding and restoring. It includes a local vai, old kalo area that we're going to be restoring. And on the Makai side of that is the city park that your Parks Department has been working hard, starting with Councilmember Sunioshi previously, to clean up. And we want to be a partner in that. And so we'd love to find a creative way to partner with the Parks Department. I've had some really informal conversations with Nate, who we work with and is a real resource at Sunset Beach as well. So we'd like to get that across the line. And the last thing, and I'm glad to hear the claps for bike paths, is we're re-energizing our effort behind being a community catalyst for connecting the dots for bike paths. We've recently made a hire that's focusing on that, and we've reached out to some key community members, so we also hope that we can get the cooperation and support of the city to help. We know these are long-term things, but we also know without your support and cooperation, they don't go too far too fast.
And we know bike paths are very important, and we want to do that.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Shamara, get his contact. Get his. Yes, ma'am.
Hi, my name is Kelly Turansky. I am the Executive Director at the Chamber of Commerce here in Haleiwa.
Nice to meet you, Kelly.
Thank you. Thank you for being here. So I have actually 2 things, but short ones. Because the community comes to us and looks to us for answers, they're constantly calling me and asking me what I can do to solve problems. One of the biggest problems, Carol brought up some of the problems that we have, so I'm just going to address the smaller ones that I think can be addressed pretty easily. One is the homeless. We have homeless sitting over all of our benches, on our bus stops. They never move. They just sit there. We do not have a loitering law. Our loitering law is gone. So if we could possibly get our loitering law back, I believe that we could remove these people from our bus stops and our benches, our park benches, our picnic tables, and everywhere else. The trash is getting out of hand from the homeless situation. We have no resolve. I clean it up in front of the Chamber of Commerce. We have a bus stop. Every day I'm out there cleaning that mess up. And it's stuff that you don't even want to look at. Not you, but...
I understand.
So we'd really like some help with that. Loitering law, it would help, and it would resolve the problem, I believe. The other thing is the noise from the vehicles. I mean, I'm in a little building, and I'm scared that my building is going to collapse on top of me from some of those trucks. I've talked to the police department. They say that, there's something in the works, but it's really not, helping right now. Right now, we need some help ticketing those people right away so that we can stop the problem, because it's our businesses in Haleiwa that are suffering. So, thank you.
The noise factors come up in a lot of town halls. It was a big issue in Laie, so not surprising, same kind of a description of those trucks. We have other issues in the urban core with amplified sound. One of the challenges for us is a manpower challenge. And, Jim, I don't know if you want to say anything, was Jim Ireland about homeless, but, getting out here and dealing with that. You said a loitering law. Is that the word you said? Or what was
Loitering law.
Loitering
law. Yeah.
Loitering, yeah, that's what I thought you said, yeah. This has become an island-wide problem, and with homeless, unfortunately, oftentimes trash comes, and they do have a tendency to aggregate at bus stops as well. It's, Jim, I don't know.
Sure. Thank you for that question. Jim Ireland, the CORE program, Crisis Outreach Response Engagement, was founded by, where's Anton? Anton Krucky, and it's a way to address homelessness. And we put a team together. It's in our department because we're finding the majority of people who are chronically homeless have issues with mental health and substance abuse. Criminals hide among them, and that's a police issue, but pure homelessness with the mental health and the medical problems, dementia even in older homeless, is something that we're addressing. We have now a core team of 30-something people. We've started in Chinatown because that's where probably the worst homeless situation was on our island, although we recognize that it's in every community. We've begun outreach now in Waikiki, but the other thing we're doing is what's called like a targeted outreach. So we take the whole team, 35 people, 3 ambulances, SUVs, and we descend on a community, often paired with the community policing, the police department from that district or that beat. And we'll go to, we've gone to Kailua, we've gone to Aiea, we've gone to other Waianae. And so I think what we need to do is we'll talk on the side and have more of a relationship with the chamber and come out here.
Can I ask a question about the loitering law? Why did it go away?
I don't really know. I couldn't find any information
Chief,
about
you have
it.
any thoughts on that?
I do. The Supreme Court said we can't. We can't send people and just kick people off sidewalks and tell people they can't be around. There are sit-lie laws that are in urban areas. There are sit-lie laws. I was just talking to the community policing team outside that are working to help with the homeless situation along with the other avenues. But there are certain laws and rules that we have to abide by, and we just can't push people around. So since the early 80s, when they stopped institutionalizing individuals beyond their own approval to go into institutions where they would be well taken care of, all these people came out on the streets. And that's what we're dealing with today, because we can't institutionalize people if they don't want to be. It has to be a voluntary thing. So because of that, that's how we're dealing with the issue. Homelessness is not a crime in and of itself, but there are behaviors and actions they do that are criminal. And so we'll talk with the captain here of the district along with the community policing team. They tell me they come out at night to help with the individuals that are sleeping at bus stops to move. They're not everywhere, and so they do the best they can with the officers that they have, and they're trying to work as many areas as they can.
So what can we do about, for example, the bus stop by Farm to Barn, for example. Somebody has moved in, and they've got their tent there, they've got their bike there, they've got everything, they've got their clothes hanging all over the bus stop. What do we do?
So you get a hold of the District 2 Wahiawa Station, ask for the community policing team to come out, and they'll come out with other resources to help meet with these individuals, talk with them, and see how we can help them move to a location that's better suited for what they need assistance in.
And then if there are places like Malama Market, there's 3 guys that sit there all day long at the bus stop. Drinking.
Yeah. Okay.
And fighting and doing other things.
And do
yeah,
we call
one
911 when that happens,
defecated
or
right
we-
in front of everybody.
Okay. So
Okay,
let me,
I'll take that
go
one.
ahead.
Yeah, in that kind of situation, you have to call 911, have us go there. I think you know our CPT officers,
Yeah.
Muna, and they're excellent. They go out at night, they bring back tonnage, not just poundage, tonnage of waste for what they call basically the stored property ordinance. So they do go out. But of course, it is a large problem, and it's a problem that takes a time to solve. But it's in cases where you do see people fighting, or you see them defecating in some area, or open containers, those are laws we can enforce, and we're more than happy to enforce it if you can take this problem out. You know, if you can remove it, give them the help they need. We work with some great agencies here, like Achieve One. They're great. We do try to help as much as we can, and thanks to the CPT we have here, which is by far, I've been in many districts, is one of the most active CPT people that we have. And I think you know that too, right? Because you know Shane them, they help a lot, right?
Yeah.
And that's what we're here for. We're to help you guys with these certain problems. And we're more willing to, but of course, we have to follow the laws that we have.
So about the noise pollution from the cars.
Are you talking about the boombox and stuff like that?
Yes.
Okay.
The ones that rock my building.
Okay. Let's be fair. All of us don't like that. Okay? I think all you guys are old enough, this happened same time back in the 80s when the cars were blowing their bases out and it was crazy. Unfortunately, yes, it's back again. And it is annoying. Even annoying for everyone here. I'm sure everyone in this building, in this has experienced the boombox people. Yes. Here's the issue. These people who have these vehicles, they're intelligent. They know. They know what to do. So you can call the police officer there, and we will happily go there, and we would cite them. In fact, what I will do is I will tell my officers in this district that hey, if you see a boombox law, please enforce it, and we'll try to get some citations. However, these people don't play, you know, Elton John or a nice music. They play this bass music that shakes everything. Yeah. Your building, your cars, everything around it. But it's hard to catch. And as a police officer, what do we have in our car that's going to tell them, hey, I better turn it off? Our blue lights, right? So if they see our blue lights coming anyways, what are they going to do? They're going to turn it off, and that becomes the issue. It's really hard to enforce, is because if they see us coming around, and we cannot enforce without our blue light on top of the car. It's important to have that, because we have to show people that we're police officers. Okay, and there's even a policy that says that we have to leave our light on the car. So if they're going to see this car, especially at night, they're going to see our lights, and they're going to turn it down because they don't want to get a citation. But I assure you this, that I will go ahead and notify my watch lieutenants, which are a bunch of great lieutenants in this district. We have the most senior lieutenants within our department, and they're great. I'll notify them to see if you see the violation, please cite them. Unfortunately, if they see us, they're going to turn it down.
You know, I do know that because I watch quite a bit, and I have seen them sit there and a vehicle will go right past them with their boombox on and nothing is done. And I've seen it over and over and over again. I know we have great guys. I love our police department, but we really got to crack down on this. If we start cracking down on it, I think it will go away.
Okay, I will go ahead and notify our watch lieutenants about that issue, and we'll try to get something done, okay?
Thank you.
Of course.
Thank you, Tate.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Regarding the question of the homeless that you were talking about, I think, you know, to what the chief said, you know, being homeless in and of itself is not a crime, right? There's criminal activity that goes around sometimes around that situation, but in and of itself it's not a crime, and the laws have changed. So loitering itself isn't a real solution. Plus, if we were to move somebody, we clean up, and someone moves, all we've done is move them. So now, in front of your house, right? And so the real deal is how can we treat them? And one of the questions that we have to ask ourselves is, do we want to treat them here? Do we want to treat them in your town? Right? Because to get someone from this area and to move them into Honolulu for treatment is almost impossible. We need to treat them in the areas that they're at. So I'm not asking you right now for a referendum, but I want you to think about that, because I can get a center so Jim can do his great work. They do incredible work, right? But we have to have a place where we can then treat them, and I can do partnerships with the state to do that. But that's what I want you, I just want to tell you to think about that, because until we get them into treatment, we haven't really, addressed the problem, if you will. But thank you for pointing it out. It's very good.
Thank you.
But I tell you right now, 3 guys sitting on a park bench, drunk, lewd behavior, threatening people, taking up a bus stop, defecating in the street, that shouldn't go on. Yeah. So I've been involved with, and this is where I'm going to cross the line here. There's no lawyers, the TV cameras are out of the room. And we talked about it today with our police department at the Chinatown. We met today with the Chinatown people. But I've been in groups out in Waianae, out in Mililani, and in Nanakuli. And they're taking back their communities out there, and it's not in our neighborhood. Okay? They're just telling you it's not in our neighborhood, and they're dealing with that. So I would tell you there's power in the people. There's a very tight-knit community. Stuff like that shouldn't go on. I agree, you can call 911, it's problematic, and as Anton said, picking these guys up, you just can't, it's called kidnapping. We just can't pick them, take them for a joyride. But I think this community can get fed up and do something about it itself. And I mean fed up, because that's what I would do from a leadership standpoint out here.
Thank you.
Okay? Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Rex, I know this woman. Let me say right now, I love bike paths. Let me just say it before she gets to the microphone. Kids love bike paths. Kids should ride bikes all the time. Go ahead.
So that's what you want. You want to be on a first-name basis with the mayor. I just want to thank all the department heads that came out tonight. I know I've spoken with a couple of you. Mr. Morton, somehow I got his number, and I'm always calling the city after hours because I'm a full-time teacher at Sunset Beach Elementary School, 3rd grade for 35 years. And yay, we got a raise. I called the number, and Mr. Morton picked up. It was like 10 o'clock, and I think on a Saturday night, I'm going, Mr. Morton? He goes, yes. And I said, I have these issues about the bike path. And we had this great conversation. So I encourage everybody here who has issues just to keep calling and build relationships with all these department heads, because if you keep it and keep it and keep it going and never step back but always be polite, you will make headway. I just want to thank the mayor because I made headway. Last spring, last March, we met, my husband and I, Ed, we met with the mayor at his office because I don't give up. And the bike path at Sunset has been my baby for about 30 years because I'm the vice president of the North Shore Outdoor Circle. And it's falling apart, just old age, the sun and the surf and the salt. And so I had my students, my 3rd graders, write letters of thank you today to the mayor, because tomorrow morning I'll be walking the bike path with city officials, with the consultants that were hired for planning and design to construct a new bike path. And so I'm just so grateful. I mean, it takes a lot of effort, and I'm working full time, and it's a volunteer position, but we're invested in our community, and the more we're invested, the better our community will be. So letters from my students,
Thank you,
love
Rex.
letters.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor.
Are they love letters, or are they threatening 3rd graders? What are you teaching those kids? Thank you very much. Thank you.
Can I add to that too?
Yeah, go ahead, Roger.
As you guys know that we are constructing the Goodell bike path right now. And we also have a request to our congressional leaders to help us fund Haleiwa Road right after that. So we're looking toward, we can use all the support we can get from the community for that. It does take a village.
Thank you, Roger. Thank you, Rex. Ma'am.
Good evening. Thank you all for being here. This is great.
Thank you for your patience. You've been in line for a while. Go ahead.
My name is Cora Sanchez, and I've been out here on the North Shore for quite a few decades. And I'm part of a group, we have a nonprofit called Save Sunset Beach Coalition, And back in 2010, my husband, who passed away, he got an adopt-a-park for Hale Beach Park Malka, which is the area, the 3.5 acres where the canoe halau will be going. And back before 2010, it was overgrown, halikoa, guinea grass, and maybe 30 or 40 homeless people living in there. Well, they came in, and with the help of
Kathleen.
Yes, Kathleen.
The Board of Waters, okay. Neighborhood Board.
Yeah. We're able to go in and clear the land,
Right.
and then get this adopt-a-park agreement with the city, county, with CJ, Clinton Jemile at the adopt-a-park. Now, about 2.5, 3 years ago, we went to renew the adopt-a-park, and Clint says, sorry, but we can't do that. It's undeveloped land, so you have to go through a process to get a permit to go in there and mow and keep the area up. Now, I have to email a Sergeant Muna at the, and he has to coordinate with CJ, and they have to give us a permit. They have to come out. We have to sign folders. I'm not getting any access to them. We're not getting the permits to go out there and clean it up. And we have plenty of volunteers that want to do it, but it's getting overgrown. It's going to cause more work for us, the volunteers.
Okay, Cal.
Hi,
This
aloha.
is a great question. I like the fact you're raising this. Go ahead.
Yeah, and first, mahalo for helping to malama our parks. So CJ's retired, but I will say just before and during the pandemic, for some reason, our Adopt-a-Park program kind of slowed and came to a stop. So some of the things that are happening, we don't have anybody in his place yet. We're working on hiring, but we are kind of overhauling our Adopt-a-Park program. We're actively working on creating a program for undeveloped land so that you can do a 2-year agreement for undeveloped lands. So two of our DPR staffers are out here. They'll come and talk to you, and you can work with us directly. I don't know. I'm surprised to hear you're working through, was it HPD you said?
Yeah, we have to email them because they have to have an officer there. Somebody from Clint's office had to have somebody there. And yeah.
Oh, we can work with you. Yeah, we do permitting right now because we don't have the program in place. It is permitting per activity.
This is our last permit
until we get
2022.
there. But that sounds very complicated. I don't think
it shouldn't be that complicated. Chief, with all due respect, it shouldn't be that complicated.
We're taking care of the land for you.
Reach out to us. Yes. We'll put you in touch directly with our staff who are handling the program. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we want you to continue the great work. Mahalo.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Promise you. Thank you. Okay. I know. It's this one I'll get right. It's Raquel.
Well, you cannot forget, so I won't let you. I just have 3 hot topics. I'm going to ramble off just quickly.
One question. Go ahead.
And 3 promises.
Go ahead.
That's what I'm looking for. There's nothing I can't tell you. You haven't already heard about property tax. Andy and I have had conversation. Very fortunate.
All right.
But what I'd like to see is absolute, and I'm here not to complain about it, but I'm telling you I'm here to help with it if I can. We need a permanent fix for our kupuna in the property tax division. A permanent across the board for them, because we can't wait much longer. Our ag lands are being grossly abused out here. Misused, sold by Pilau realtors and developers, some of which are locals as well. So I'm looking for some kind of form to be able to correct, and Director Apuna has been hugely helpful with pursuing our issues with that.
Okay.
My question now is for ocean safety.
Jim Ireland, Dr. Ireland's here.
Okay, this one's for you. So we need, our ocean safety guys out here are overwhelmed, yeah? There's tons of people coming out at rapid speeds, and we still have the same amount of people out here that we had in the 80s. Our guards are strained. 410s was adopted in 2019 or 20. It's not implemented. We need them to have a separate department to be an effectively managed group of people. If 410s was adopted, I'm wondering, I want to know why it's stalled out, why it's not implemented.
Good question. Jim?
So first of all, with respect to the 410s, it has been implemented, but not fully implemented. So the mobile responders are on 410s, dispatch is on 410s, the communications, the captains, the rescue craft, Mayor signed off on that last year, so the rescue craft operators, the jet skis, and one of the 5 districts, District 5, Hanauma Bay. Who's not on 410s yet is District 1, which is Waikiki, District 2, District 3, and District 4, which is the rest of the island. That is with HR now. It's an agreement we have to make with the union. The members have to sign off on it, but the 410s will be in place throughout the island at the latest in November of this year, but I'm hopeful that it's going to be earlier. One of the things we're working on right now is should it be the rest of the districts all at once, like just done, or should it be sequential where District 1 is done, for instance, June 1st, District 2, July 1st, District 3, August, September, sequential like that, because people are rolling out of academies or recruit classes throughout the year, and those extra guards will help implement this extended work schedule. So it will be in place before the end of the year. I'm hopefully much sooner, and it should be starting within the next month or two.
For the towers.
For the towers, yes, District 1 through 4 towers. And then that will be it. That will be everybody.
So our first responders, with all respect to all of them, because you guys work really gnarly, heavy-duty stuff, all respect.
As far as your other question, as far as the department,
yeah.
I had some names submitted to me from Chief Titchen and others, and I presented a list to my boss, and I don't know if you want to finish this question, but that we have a list of people, and that list is going to go to the mayor. It's going to be a group of subject matter experts, not just in ocean safety, but also in things like law, finance, HR, because a department is not something that's just, it's not unheard of for the city to open up a new department. DLM was a new department within the city within the last few years. But there's some other implications with the charter and elsewhere, so we have this group together. The mayor's going to look over the list, and they're going to make recommendations to the mayor.
Jim, how many lifeguards have we, ocean safety people, have we hired in the last year and a half?
Well, we had 3 recruit classes last year, which is, usually we only have 1 or 2. So we're pushing. We have at least 15 more positions in next year's budget asked for. We're still using federal funds, FRF funds. I think we have something like 20 to 30 right now on contract with federal funds. So we're doing everything we can to meet the challenges of the 410s. And for those of you who don't know, the lifeguards historically work about 8 hours a day, and we wanted to increase that to 10 hours a day or 10 and a half hours a day to cover the beaches better, extended hours. But when you work a 10-hour day, you don't work 5 days, you work 4 days. So that's what we're talking about with 410s. EMS, they work 3 12s, alternating 3 and 4 opposite weeks. So they work 12-hour shifts. Fire department generally works 24-hour shifts. So it's just different ways to cover our beaches. But I think the 410s is very popular. When we put it forth for a vote for the rescue ski operators, it was something like 45 for and 1 against. So it's a popular schedule. People get 1 more day off a week. They work a little longer, but it'll allow us to cover the beaches better.
Okay. The concern is a lot of our towers sometimes are closed because there's not enough workers.
And that's
on the
why
North Shore, you can't have closed towers.
Well, and that's why, again, we're just trying to hire as much as we can and as fast as we can.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't like doing that, believe me.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right. Okay. Thank you, Raquel. Thank you. Sir.
Leif Anderson, North Shore resident. On your suggestion about taking care of the issue when you have an issue with somebody that's making trouble, before time we used to call uncle, uncle used to come take care. Now you call uncle, uncle gets in trouble, the other guy walks away. So it makes it a little bit harder. My thing is land tax. You know, all of us work, some of us are retired, we work all our life, buy one house, and we figure, okay, now we're going to retire, we pay our house, and we're good to go. Well, now you pay your house, you're on fixed income, and you cannot afford the land tax. You got to sell your house and move to Arizona. You don't like, I don't like.
We don't want that
Arizona.
to happen. We understand that.
So we need to do something about that.
Yeah.
Now, us guys with white hair, all you guys going to start getting them. And you're the director. You're coming close.
Yeah.
So
no, we have to, look, and I want to try to get through as many more people. We've got about 10 minutes. I hear you. Look, you're gonna see us again. This isn't a one-time only. We're taking in all this stuff. You can expect some kind of tax. I just don't know what it's going to be, but it's a really big issue with us. And as somebody said earlier on your behalf, about Kapuna tax being fun, we need to look at a lot of things, and we're going to try to make that happen.
Yeah.
Okay?
Thank you.
All right, you got it. You appreciate it. Thank you.
Aloha, my name is Frank, and I just want to thank everyone who's here. I appreciate everyone coming up. The pool closed in 2018 for about 4 years, and I'm very thankful that it's reopened again. When it closed, there was lights at the pool, and I want to know why we don't have lights now when it reopened.
Okay, that's your question? Do you know anything about that, Hale? All right.
I'm not sure. It was probably damaged or corroded, and so we had to remove them. And to replace lights would be a capital improvement project.
Can
I'm not sure.
Can we do that?
Huh?
Can we?
So I'm not sure if that's in our. If that's
Brian?
But Brian might know because
You know anything about the lights? We've been doing a lot of pool stuff. We just opened up Waipahu after 7 years of being closed. We're going to announce next week Pearl City after years of being closed. 2 weeks ago, we were out in Laie, and that was a big issue all night long about a pool. We get how much it means. We said earlier about bike paths and how people play and other things in this community. We talked about the canoe club. We get it. So tell him he's going to have lights by next week, and I'll be happy.
No, so that project is currently out to bid right now for construction. So it's the above ground pool lights. So we think it's probably going to take anywhere from about 6 to 8 months to complete all that, but we have it. It's getting ready to go to construction. We're working on fixing it right now.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, you're welcome. Thank you. Sir.
Hi. My name is Mike Beekler. I'm a North Shore Neighborhood Board member and here today as the chair of the North Shore Chamber of Commerce. You've heard from some of our other directors, our vice chair, our executive director. And I just want to say thank you all for coming out tonight. I know it's a long way. I really appreciate everyone being here and the personal attention you're giving us. And to maybe give some context, I want to say we really, really appreciate the Haleiwa Walkways project. That's been a pet project of the Neighborhood Board and the Chamber of Commerce for many, many years, and it's taken a long time to get it to get going. And I wanted to tell you about our next, now that we have that going, tell you about our next priorities. Here for our next ask, and we did talk about the parking already, the walkways are taking away some of the parking, and we really need public parking in Haleiwa, but also we really need public bathrooms. They're normally only at parks, but like Haleiwa, we have all these people in this town walking around. They want to walk around and go to all the little stores and visit the shops, but the only parking available for these people is at these larger shopping centers. And we're kind of pushing all the problems of all the parking and restrooms off to these private shopping centers, and we have a lot of businesses, not just those shopping centers, and we want people to be able to go to all of those businesses. And so my question, I guess, is really that we've had a great working relationship with our city council people over the past, and I'm wondering who in your administration can the Chamber of Commerce work directly with to kind of make sure that some of these priorities for our community and the Chamber of Commerce and the small businesses up here are represented and heard, and that we can work through those things with someone in the executive branch.
Who wants to raise their hand and take that on? Okay. Mike Formby, Measure
Go straight
Director.
with Mike. Okay, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
We'll follow up. We will.
I appreciate it.
Look, this is all part of the evolution of stuff, okay? Thank you.
Thank you very much.
You. Sir.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and I'm going to repeat what I said outside there. You need to come down here more often because I've never seen the grass mowed and everything taken care of as much as I have in the last 5 days. And it's because of you. So somebody got the word you were coming. Now, thank you.
I don't even know what to say to that, but thank you. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
I want you to come out here more often.
Okay.
So the other part of that is, I've served the city now for just over 54 years. I'm in my 70s. My grandkids, my children, everybody lives with me. Okay? 1,100 square foot house. So I think you're going to get the picture. Our United States congressmen make $174,000 a year. That's 93% more than anybody else in the nation. Are you willing to go before the city council and say, vote no for this huge raise you're proposing?
You know what? I'll tell you right now. This is the first time this has come up in a town hall meeting. It hasn't come up in seven others. Are you talking about the 12.5% raise for our team that the salary commission voted on? Or are you talking about the 64.4% raise for
all
the
of
city
the
council?
above?
I am going to back my team, sir. You know, Mayor Caldwell waived the raise in 2020. We waived it the last 2 years.
Right.
I waived it. This year, when the salary commission per charter asked me, should we put in for a raise? I said I want to put in for a raise for my team. I know how hard they've been working for the last 2.5 years. We didn't give them numbers. They did their due diligence. They came up with a 12.5% raise, which is less than what the civil service employees have gotten during this time. I had nothing to do with the city council raise. These people, look at them, because I'm in my 70s too. They're young and they have families, and they work 80-hour weeks.
Right.
They deserve the raise we've put in for them. So I'm standing behind my team. I've got nothing to do with the city council.
I've been there, done that.
Okay.
Like I say, I've served the city 54 years. The last 20 years has been for free. I don't charge.
Okay. Well, I
and so
appreciate that.
what I'm asking is, I know, what I'm asking is 50% of our population, Haliva Waialua, is at or below the poverty level.
I'm very aware of that. I'm very aware of the Alice report. 60% of our people are living paycheck to paycheck. I'm very aware of that. But what anybody in this team is here is going to get paid is not about being overpaid. Okay?
Okay. Well, I got your answer. Come out here more often.
I'll be here more often.
There's
Thank
a
you.
whole bunch of stuff we need to talk about. But
Yeah.
for now, this is it.
Okay. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Last two, right here. So you're
Okay,
second
thank
to
you,
last.
Mr. Mayor,
Yeah.
and thank you, all your staff members. I'm
Thank
sorry
you.
we don't have a cushion for real cold. It's getting kind of hard down there. Yeah? Okay, so, us too. So we invite millions of people to come to Oahu in Hawaii, and they spend billions of dollars, and we have an obligation to provide infrastructure. What saddens me is the tourists are getting a bad rep. You know, they're getting to be the bad guy. And, you know, they're not all wonderful, but we should be able to provide adequate infrastructure. Over half of the things we've talked about tonight were about parks. Parks are critical. We're a recreational destination. We're one of the finest recreational destinations on the planet. This is an amazing place. And, you know, we're right on the cusp of saying, well, I can't go to the, you know, the residents are getting squeezed out of their assets here. And so my question, I knew you is how do we get more parks? That's a cue for you.
How do we get more parks? How do we take better care of our parks? You know, that's what we're trying to do. Not enough people, too many parks. But that's a good question.
Just a quick footnote.
Yes,
when
sir.
Fosse was mayor, they bought a lot of land out here and other places for parks.
Yes.
And it's just kind of sitting there. And, you know, we're having a hard time maintaining parks, and there's not enough parking, and this, what about the beach, the pollution coming out of the restrooms? There's a lot of issues with how we are now, but we need more parks.
Right.
That's my point of view.
Okay. That's well taken, sir. Well taken. All right. You have the honor of being the last person tonight.
Mayor, may I say something really quickly to
Yeah.
that point? So the city has a conservation fund. Every year we set aside 0.5% of the real property tax revenue. It's about $7.5 million per year. It goes into a conservation fund that can be used for recreation and open space. That's how Kahuku Golf Course was brought into the city. I would love to talk to you about other opportunities to use that fund to create more recreational opportunities. Thank you.
Yeah, and Kat is the head of land management. Maybe you remember when she introduced herself, so she knows about stuff like that. Look, we want to, I said it earlier, we're big fans of everything we can do, you know, to have people play. And I appreciate the comment about the grass finally got cut. We don't have enough people, okay? I would tell you, we got a lot of, how many parks, KL? 312 parks on Oahu. And I've been on record of talking about the fact that the city It's got 3,000 vacancies, and they've had them for a long time. And this is not an ideal time to even try to hire people. Everybody's going through it, but we're in an all-out effort to hire people so we can take better care of the resources we have. That's the best I can tell you. I can promise you that. Okay. Go ahead.
I'm so fortunate to come today. I actually came for the tennis, supporting the tennis lessons for my daughter. So I know Bill 19 talks about 10 buses at the beach parks and
Bill 19, by the way, is a work in progress. That's what I was trying to tell that man.
Yeah,
It's a
and I
work in
wasn't able
progress.
to speak at that one, which you had in town. So I'm glad I'm here to speak for it. For many years, have been seeing them come in and out of our parks. And when my daughter was a baby, I'd seen 40 at the beach. And the problem I feel is that there's not a regulation out here to monitor these tour companies. Sometimes they stack the tours because they just want to get in and get out. And it's a lot of people. I don't know if you guys come out here and assess how many people go into the water. I'm glad you guys are doing conservation because some of these areas do need a pause, take a break. If you guys can implement a plan where they take a break from the beach, take a break from the reef, and do an impact study, that'd be great. Yeah, so I'm not for Bill 19. If we can implement something like Waimanalo here, I'm not sure if that's already implemented. That'd be great. My other concern, I have two things to talk about. Is I don't know if it impacts the community, but it impacts me. Sacred area that's being developed. And the development's not, it's about a mile away from the first EV that are on a map in archaeological studies. So I have called many departments and I haven't gotten support or response.
So what is your question?
Who do I talk to about that? Because some of these lots are listed in Wahiawa, which some of them are in Haleiwa.
Yeah.
And some of these lots are removing the LCA numbers, which is against the law. So what do we do?
So you're talking about a real estate?
Yes. I'm talking about protecting a sacred area.
Yeah, Kat, hang on.
Yeah, so that fund that I mentioned, I'd be happy to talk to you offline. So it can be used for recreation. It also can be used to preserve archaeological and culturally and historical sites.
Awesome.
So it's something this community is actually one of the best communities on the island. We've used that fund to preserve so many sacred places, Manuia Hale, in Waimea Bay. So I would love to talk to you about how we can use it towards that.
Thank
you. Thank you.
For
All right, so it's time to close. Before I thank all of you for being here, let me just say one thing about Bill 19. It keeps coming up. Bill 19 is not designed to create any kind of overrun that's been sort of suggested, maybe even misunderstood. What we're talking about is whether or not we could have the most fair and equitable use of our beaches, and who has access to that, and who shouldn't. It really is about control and trying to stop that sense of overrun so our local people don't feel subordinated, okay? And like we've all been sold out for the almighty dollar. That's why we talked earlier, and I'm going to apologize. I got a little hot with you, and I shouldn't have done that. All right, okay, so we love each other, all right? Because I really feel strongly about this, that we're trying to do the right thing. We're trying to do the right thing on behalf of the people who live here. And I would tell you, it's not easily done in the face of, what you need to push against when you're talking about money and whatever. So we start talking about control measures in limiting, there's a lot of pushback, okay? So just know that. Look, I want to say on behalf of our team tonight, this has been an incredible crowd. I think you fulfilled and exceeded any expectation we had about coming out of the town hall. I think our takeaway from all of you is how much you love this place, the respect you have for living out here, for each other. We feel that. As I said at the outset, it's a journey of learning. We want to understand and know you. I've said before, this is not the last time you're going to see me. and not just because the grass gets cut or our team, okay? We're aware. A number of you have personal contacts up here tonight. The whole idea was to have this cabinet be available to you to begin ongoing dialogue. And all I can tell you is call some people from the places we've already been, and they would already tell you over the course of the last 2 months since we began doing this, how much follow-up has gone on. This group is for real. They're serious. We're all committed together to better serve you. Thank you all for being here.